There's always balancing between north and south. That air hostess up for investigation. I still feel to a large extent that she should sue because it was a deliberate attempt to shame her. There was no reason why their hands went to her breast in the first place. Why they...
So guys, former President Goodluck Jonathan has finally come out to clear the air on the issue that have been on ground. We're going to take a listen, at the video in a short while. But before then, I want us to watch this video of Rufai Oseni and Dr. Ruben Abbati. They blew hot today in the studio. Recall, Comfort of Igbo Hair came out 2 days ago to narrate with her mouth what happened, okay? So after the thing she revealed, Rufai Oseni and Dr. Ruben Abbati, they said she must take a legal action because the hair hostess, she made us understand, purposely, deliberately before that slap, put down like this thing, raise it up just to embarrass her. Do you understand what I'm saying? So please, I want us to, and I concur with them. All right, watch this video today and also hear that of the Goodluck Jonathan. But please, in case today is your first time coming across my video, I want to say a big thank you to you for stopping by to watch. This only goes on platform, a platform that tell you undiluted truth. Before you watch it, please do me a favor by giving it a thumbs up so that Facebook and YouTube can recommend it. And please share for others to see. Above all, I want to know your take on this. Thank you. Let's watch together now.
In fact, even before she said this, several witnesses on the flight have corroborated her story by saying that when the air hostess did come to her and say turn off, she said, what is it called? Our buttons are not working fine on the phone. And she even told the air hostess, can you help me do it? And the air hostess got rude. And after the flight, when they arrived at their destination, before they alighted, she went to the bathroom and all of this ensued. And we all saw how that air hostess stood in front of the door. So, like I said before, Ibom Air will have to put that air hostess up for investigation. I still feel to a large extent that she should sue because it was a deliberate attempt to shame her. There was no reason why their hands went to her breast in the first place. Why they pulled out her inner. It was a deliberate attempt to shame her. And after doing that, disgraced her, put her breast in public, they now filmed the only part that showed when she was reacting. You cannot hit me and expect me not to react.
This is early morning TV.
I'm sorry.
Mammary glands.
Mammary glands, whatever.
Vital assets.
Whatever, vital assets. No, let's say it the way it is. Because it's very painful.
It is.
You cannot hit me and expect me not to react. After they had hit her, they had provoked her within not only her assets, they even went further with her wig, because as at the time she was fighting back, her wig was already pulled off.
Right.
So they had triggered her within. The air hostess had done her job. Then she called for cover and started filming. And you pulled her down and you hurt her. So Ibom Air, I still feel this case was taken up. This is not to exonerate the fact that she also did slap the air hostess. But as at the time when the air hostess said, you are slapping me, you had instigated the fight. And you had treated her in a very appalling way. And now you were quick to say, you are slapping me, so that you look vindicated. She too must be penalized for that slap. But you can't trigger somebody without getting away with it. This is not fair.
For that slap, if she was provoked, I don't know what you say about that. Because if she was provoked and it was in self-defense, then she has a case. Because if you're slapping somebody, if somebody had done that to you and you retaliated in self-defense, that's something totally different. But I'm so glad that I have the opportunity to speak about this because I've been following, this story since it started. And I, of course, let me speak as, someone who's impartial and also as a woman, because I know that a lot of people go through this. It's the culture of shame and humiliation When you do something wrong, the first thing they want to do is to attack your person. First of all, she was called a prostitute, so it's a very easy insult for a lot of Nigerian women. You do something, you say you don't want to buy something from a vendor anymore, they say, Ashawo, get out. You say you don't want to do something, Ashawo. In fact, after a while, it becomes almost a compliment. So it's a culture of shame and humiliation that must end as part of our culture here in Nigeria. And then the second part is that I think we should stop comparing her and calling her Kwamtu, because the situations now that she has come out to express herself are vastly different. In one instance, he was resisting doing what was right in terms of aviation security. In this instance, she wasn't. She asked for help, and it was the high-handedness of the air hostess that brought her to this situation. So it wasn't like she was resisting. She's not Kwamtu. It was just a situation that was badly managed because of the cultural thing of older, younger, who are you to talk to me, who are you not to talk to me. I agree that there should be a customer service training for all airport staff, because it's not just Ibom Air. A lot of people who have traveled either locally or even sometimes even internationally, depending on the flight you take, want to see how we are treated. You pay money to be humiliated. That is really sad as a nation. Now, going to the fact as to whether or not her face, she saved face, or the exposure of her personal assets, on whether or not she's received a lot of compensation does not hold water. If you were me, and you give me $100 million or whatever, but you expose me in such a manner, there's no amount of compensation for that. To say that, oh, because I'm now famous, it's embarrassing. That's not the kind of fame that I want. It's embarrassing. And like she mentioned in the video that she released, it's beyond now, it's her future. The internet never forgets. Yeah. Her children will Google her name and see. Her children's friends in school will mock her children potentially for this. How do you pay money for this kind of thing? So it's a culture that must be addressed, and also a culture that must change. How do we change this systematically? How can we report this? And that is why there must be punishment for everyone involved, not just the air hostess, but every single person who was there and did nothing that was an official. The people who yanked her off the flight and carried her and manhandled her ought to be brought to book. We can see their faces in the video. And then finally, I would like to land on this point, because enough people have talked about this. Why is it that as a people, we don't know how to protect ourselves? How many others were on that flight and saw what was meted out to that woman and did nothing and just walked past? It's like the story of the Samaritan. Nigerians will just look and walk past. If you are being slapped by somebody that is wrong, why do we have that culture? So it's to sensitize people on different levels. But just to say that Ibom Air has a case to answer. I'm glad she's spoken out, and that we must find a way to change the culture of the way we see customers and how we treat ourselves as people in this nation. We're too angry, and there's a lot of lawlessness that goes by without people doing anything.
Just a footnote. The people who should be punished because you recommended a list, add to that list all the men who looked at that video twice, thrice. Some looked at it 10 times. They too must be identified.
I agree.
And punished.
Even the men that shared it on many WhatsApp groups.
Yes.
Everybody.
All the men that looked at it more than once. They are all guilty.
A poor girl, turn her into
Can you imagine?
South, there's always balancing between North and South, Muslims and Christians. And Yar'Adua was a Northern Muslim who was the president. And he took over from a Southern Christian, Obasanjo, who ruled for 8 years. So definitely the Northern Muslims wanted Yar'Adua to at least do 8 years before he could come back to the South for another, probably a Christian, to take over. But well, the health issue came up, and it was the problem. And that is why even to allow me to act was an issue. When Yar'Adua was going for the medical checkup, actually a letter was written. Of course, the Constitution says that for the Vice President to act, the President will send a letter to the Senate and the House of Reps, informing them. That letter was written, but the person who the letter was handed over to, I will not mention the name to you now, was one of the aides of Yar'Adua, refused to submit the letter to the National Assembly. And Yar'Adua became so ill that he had no control of issues. So we had the country where the president was not available and there was no acting president. Yes, as a vice president, you can take over the responsibilities of some responsibilities of the president, You know, the president of Nigeria has two main responsibilities. First, you're the chief executive of the country, just like a prime minister of a country. That the vice president can assume, wait, you don't need any transfer. And I was doing that because we were having an executive council meeting, we were approving memos from ministers, so the government was going on. But there was no commander-in-chief, which is the second responsibility of the president of Nigeria, besides being the executive head of the country. And there's nothing like acting commander-in-chief. Either you're a commander-in-chief or not. But when you become an acting president, you are at the same time a commander-in-chief. So that was lacking, and no country allows that gap. A country like America, you don't allow that gap at all. Yes. If American president wants to, even if it's a Whitlow, that he require anesthesia, that he will be off for 5 minutes, he will hand over to the vice president. Yes. Before that procedure. Immediately he regained consciousness to take over. But we stayed for some time. And that led to what they call the doctrine of necessity. When the National Assembly felt that the country was in a situation where it was not expected, they now have to initiate this doctrine of necessity, and they now made me to act as the president without the letter from Eradua. So the country was tense. And under this North-South divide, Christian-Muslim divide, it was really tense. And every day I was hearing about coup. I remember one day, I will not mention the names of some of my friends, came to look, vice president, that time I was not even acting. They have not even moved the doctrine of necessity. I was still the vice president. No, you don't have to sleep here. You have to come and sleep in my guest house, and so on. I said, no, I will stay in the state house. If anybody wants to kill me, it's better you kill me in the state house, so the Nigerians will know that they assassinated me in the state house. They know I have not committed any offense. If I decided to go and stay in a guest house, and wherever I'm going, scared people would know. And if people go and kill me there, they will now say Indian girls brought apple to kill me. And I wouldn't want that kind of story. But if they assassinate, it's better that I die here in the state house than being assassinated outside the state house. Because all kinds of stories